right. Would you like to join me? Yes.
I think there's something on here too.
Yes, we have another one. Perfect.
Are we on here? But yep. Oh, okay. So I'll get it started.
You're gonna start it.
All right, it's the closing remarks, everyone. We are at the final session of day 2, and we decided to sort of share a few little final closing thoughts, and in the spirit of transparency, love, and friendship, as we all agree today, were the sort of outstanding values that we experienced at the breakout sessions. We kind of wanted to just share with you guys some background about the event and just a little bit of, final thoughts about what the 2 days have been.
Yes, the beginning of the end of the beginning. I don't know how to say it. It's like somehow like it's an ending, but it's another beginning. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I love that. I would like us when I want to like have a contract where we actually sign this and the transparency, love, and friendship. So we start with, what did we gather here to do?
So the event was a bit of an experiment. We were trialing out a bit of things. Like Elena said, initially we were going to do a large-scale event that you would traditionally see, lots of panel discussions, lots of keynotes. But we really thought that this topic deserved a little more engagement and interaction, and felt we could construct some sort of programming for you all, but really we wanted to listen to you guys. What did you want to hear about? Who did you want to talk to? What were your interests? Since AI is moving so quickly, it is one of those things that you really have to engage with the community to figure out what are the things that people are concerned about? What are the things that people are looking forward to? So we appreciate the fact that many of you did fill out the application. We did utilize that in the construction of the curriculum, in the construction of the breakout sessions, and that was a big part of the organizing process for us. And we gleaned a lot of insights from that.
So originally, and we will get into the data of actually what exactly came out of your applications, but originally our idea was, first day we established the foundation, second day we build an ethical AI framework. Have we built it? Let's see. Let's find out. Always ambitious, always ambitious. And what we really expected, our wishes and desires and hopes, not fears, were, that we wanted you also in this kind of new format, and us actually, to have a chance to meet each other, potentially like have the beginning of a new partnership and collaborations between one another, increase awareness on the topic, because AI is like moving very, very fast. There's mass adoption, it's gonna be mainstream. And that's why there needs to be awareness around the ethics of AI, right? Actually create and share a roadmap of what can we do next, right? So this is the beginning, this is like an end, but for me it's also the beginning, right? What we want to do next. And then potentially even have a program for this. I mean, Erika already shared like some things that she's working on, and finding like a structure that would help continuing and instigating this kind of message.
So through the breakout sessions, I kind of explained this at the end of the breakout sessions. We were really trying to figure out how can we cultivate a journey for you guys? How could we ensure that you guys were able to engage with one another and kind of, as much as we could, get people interacting, ideally have disagreements, have agreements, and be able to really elicit, what are people thinking about? What are people thinking about from different backgrounds. So the first part was on brand with this conference of how do we spark the imagination? How do we get people thinking about what happened in the past, what's currently going on, and what's going to happen in the future? We wanted to give people the space to address their hopes and fears in this space that's iterating so quickly. And then we wanted, in the design of the conference, to have people from different perspectives be able to think about each other's needs, to think about each other's constraints, to think about each other's professional roles. And that was really in the construction of how we thought about the breakout sessions. And then the second day, sort of on point with this ethical frameworks, we got a little inkling of that. At least we got some 3 values on the table to think about what it would the foundation of creating our own community-driven ethical framework look like. One that was more oriented towards multi-stakeholder collaboration. What comes next, as Elena sort of suggested, this is really the beginning for us. I know you guys have participated in this 2-day conference, but the work for us kind of just begins. And we are really going to take a lot of what we discuss here to heart to be able to give you something and distribute something that is sort of examining this. What are the ethical frameworks we're going to leverage, and how can that really get applied to people's day-to-day lives?
So what did we know before? So as already Erika mentioned, we did look at the data, we did look at your submissions, and there's a couple of graphs as data-driven people here that we can share with you about who you are in the end. I know some of the some of the speakers so far asked this question and there was an engagement from the audience, but let's see actually what the data said.
Yeah, so the event goals, we were trying to figure out what were people mostly interested in. Why come to a conference? Why spend 2 days of your life engaging with other people? And as many of you have known, because I've sort of shared this publicly, it was a lot about networking. It was a lot about garnering new insights about trends and what was up to date. People were really interested in best practices. And then they were interested in thought-provoking discussions, practical knowledge, and sort of figuring out the regulatory landscape. So we kind of utilized a lot of this information, both in terms of the topics and the curation and the speaker choice and selection, but then we also considered it in terms of how we designed the breakout sessions. So that kind of gives you guys a bit of insight. I'm trying to share the process with you because, again, in terms of you guys potentially creating your own scenarios like this is how we kind of constructed and thought about the breakout sessions, because we really thought that networking is great. You guys are going to have drinks afterwards, but sometimes it's hard to know who's in the room, what they're thinking about, and how they're really engaging with these topics. So we thought that the interactive sessions would be a better model in order to encourage that. In addition to this, we, of course, designed the breakout sessions. We, I think, interviewed a handful of people, especially some of the facilitators, to figure out what did they think were good breakout topics, and we threw them to you to see what engagement you guys had in each of these topic areas. Ethical AI implementation was the #1. Deepfakes, hallucination, misinformation was the #2 of interest, and then AI regulation was the 3rd. So that, again, sort of informed the way we thought about the program curation and also some of the topics that we went through in the breakout sessions. So what was the spread? So the spread of different people in this room, we had representations from academia. We had lots of academics. We had, our second biggest community was AI developers. We had founders as the 3rd biggest. The 4th is AI ethics advocates, corporate, policymakers, media, artists, and other. We really tried in all of our campaigns in order to develop invitations to really get a spread like this. And it took a lot of work, took a lot of emails. I am horrible at email. I was telling someone yesterday I have probably like 40,000 unread emails, but I really tried during this conference to combat
How many
that.
unread do I have?
How many?
I don't have a lot. I don't like it. I have a 0.
Oh, you have a 0. Yeah, so you can see we're different personalities when it comes to emails. But we went on LinkedIn, everything, and we were really trying to craft that for the design of the conference to see if we could make this happen. Everyone talks about multi-stakeholder collaboration. It is something that is much easier said than done, but we were trying to have that match in terms of the people we accepted, the invitations we sent out, and the people that we were really contacting.
We actually also set as goals to have specific spread, that's why there was application process, and actually not everybody has been admitted here. There's, I think, about 30% that was not admitted to come. So you were chosen to come, bear in mind. And basically, we also tried to keep it, even though there was a lot of applications coming from academics, we did try to make sure that there's a good number so that people could actually mingle and learn from each other. And so far, the feedback that we've received is that people really enjoyed meeting people that they work in a different field, and then essentially they can learn from each other, because that's how also the future of AI could be, right? Multidisciplinary and diverse and with multi-stakeholders. So essentially you just you have a lot of different perspectives and you put them in them. Hopefully that's the positive future I'm looking at least. So what did we achieve? So this is basically some, I wouldn't say topics, some words that were mentioned yesterday. When at the closing session yesterday, I crowdsourced the knowledge of the audience and asked to give us some words. So I mixed it with some of the words that we already proposed. But for example, curiosity was shared yesterday by someone. Someone said parenthood, because there was this joke going around that AI is a kid, which I find a bit disturbing. But yes, parenthood was one. Responsibility, I think it came up a lot. It started with Erika's presentation, but it kept on coming, like, responsibility for the future for us, for AI. You mentioned something that first world bias, first world bias. I was trying to remember, and I just said first world, and I was like, I'm gonna crowdsource that too. So first world bias. That was a great one. That was a great one. And yeah, collective intelligence, collaboration, and of course, like ethical AI and implementation. Open source was talked a lot today, and regulation, I think, is coming up again and again. Either people for or against it, I would say, or somewhere in the middle. Some of the figures, because we are data-driven, we try. So we had 140 in-person attendees overall, coming and going. 31 speakers, so we outdid it. So we said we're going to have 25, but in the end we had 6 more. 16 talks, I mentioned including panels, keynotes, etc. 14 facilitators, because they were the first and the second facilitators. So overall, there were 14 facilitators. So thank you. So 6 breakout room sessions and 7 breakout rooms, so topics, that's what I meant. And also what I did was, I was thinking that if we have 140 people, and okay, in a hypothetical scenario, all 140 talk to all 140, there's a 90,600 potential conversations that were maybe had between you guys, maybe. This is the maximum number, right? But I like that number. And now, the facilitators.
Now the facilitators, we wanted to invite some of the facilitators to come up and to basically share some of their insights, any big takeaways that they wanted to share from the breakout sessions, any things that they noticed from the conference. Would there be any of them that would volunteer? Christoph, I'm going to pick on you because you decided to go on the front row. Yeah, we're both like.
There you go, you have.
That was an electric shock. I've come to the point, like, I do events too, yes, and I've been doing it for a long time. And I've also come to a point where I enjoy events that combine input and collaboration and joint output much more than the classic formats. Unless the classic formats are entirely about getting drunk together, having a good time, right? So I think that from many angles, bringing a crowd together that's actually jointly interested in one central topic has always been the strong point of data natives, which is why I always support loyally Elena, because like this whole setup of like going deep into a group of people who are joined by like a strong nerdy interest drastically improves the quality of communication. Not all of this communication is intelligible to the layman, yeah, but it makes sense to the people who are there. And I love that kind of format. I'm going to do more of those as well. And I loved this one too. I'm happy how well it worked, that like this back and forth of being informed and inspired by smart, gifted people, and then getting the chance to devour and to process that and discuss with others is the future, not only for like this, but also I think for many more events to come, particularly in the case of AI, where so many people have practical experience, probably also an opinion, maybe individual output that they can bring to the table, so that like generative AI, as Boris was saying, among other things, is blurring again the border between the producer and the consumer. Because everyone in this room quite likely has already produced text, film, whatever creative output in ways that they couldn't or wouldn't have done a couple of years ago. Or maybe even produced stuff, provided to friends, and replaced other media that these people would have consumed. And this is going to accelerate. Like Instagram is already changing thanks to, or not thanks to, like the output of generative AI Instagram models. I don't know what their business model is, but it's happening. And I choose to see this as an enabling movement. That even more people than ever are being helped to put out there what they've got, and that brings us back to this format. Putting out what you've got in a topic that you actually master yourself, and where you own the tools and have already tried out what you can get out of that, makes for a lot more equality between attendees and speakers as a conference, because we're literally all on the same level here, both as consumers and as makers of the content. And that again is why I think that around generative AI, the distinction between on stage and off stage should be eliminated. And I'm glad that you did that step. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wise words.
Yeah. Excellent. Excellent.
So, anyone else?
Yeah, any other facilitator want to come and top that?
Exactly. Hard to follow up, Monty, but if anyone can do it, you can.
I won't go on as long as you did. Do you know what I mean? I love you, obviously. So I came here as a student of AI and slightly pessimistic. I met Elena at a mad event in Amsterdam where we ended up in caves on an island after getting ships there. And the format was kind of discussions and debate on the ships on the way there, and then you were put into certain caves where you learned about quantum and AI, actually. So I love that idea. I love the idea of being a student and not a facilitator. My co-facilitator, Alice, has gone. She was amazing. And I suppose the thing that I've learned, we tried to kind of cover up a little bit by saying that we were the table of love. But in kind of further reflection, that actually might have been a little bit of magic. Do you know what I mean? But I think the quality of people that I've met here, the conversations I've had, the panels have been excellent. This is the first trade show in my life that I've ever seen every single panel, ever, because of the interest that I have in the subject, and I've been through a few technical things. I think all of you are amazing, and the world is in good hands if you carry on your good work, and it's been a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. So, yeah. Excellent. Elena?
Hello. Oh, wow. It's very bright. Yeah, okay. I'm coming from a blockchain background, and my first AI conference was Data Natives 2 years ago, and my second is this one. So far, this is my favorite one. And my impressions are that, first of all, in my breakout room, there were mostly developers, which I loved. I am a developer myself. And I feel like AI, blockchain, generally deep tech is the only space that I've seen where there is developers that think a lot about ethics and responsibility, and you're not just doing your code, like you're doing something, there is something more to it, which I really, really, really loved. And it was something surprising, but in a very nice way for me. And also, we got to a level of contemplating ideas like who is the stakeholders in AI outside professions, and even getting to a place of land and animals. And I love that, because these are very philosophical questions, and a lot about governance, and in general, it's been very potent. Every conversation that I've had here has been very, very potent, so I love that. I think that the format was great for that, and I am exhausted, as I imagine everyone else here, so maybe, a little bit, my third AI conference will be data natives, the next one. So maybe a little bit more light schedule to keep ourselves 100%. But yeah, thank you. I learned a lot myself.
Thank you. No one else wants to share, right? Oh, you want? Okay. Okay. All right. There you go. All right.
So I want to thank you both. So the name of my research lab at Carnegie Mellon is the Collaboration and Conflict Research Lab, and my focus on honesty. And this event to me was so inspiring because of all of you and the curation of people from different backgrounds, different perspectives, and the encouragement to go deep and explore disagreement in a productive way. It's often events networking means very surface level conversations, and I think the conversations we had in our group and the different places was just an excellent embodiment of how we can have productive disagreements, respectful disagreements, honestly, to make us all better. And I mean disagreements in a positive way, meaning we were coming from different backgrounds, different ideas. We saw that with the regulation topic in particular on the different panels, but we learned from each other. And I think when we talk about transparency and collaboration with these words that have been coming up, and responsibility of all of us to engage in these conversations, disclose our different views, communicate them, collaborate in an effective way. And so I just want to thank both of you in particular for giving us the space to do that, and for everyone here in bringing that to the table. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Taya.
Oh, you want? Okay.
Okay.
We were worried that people wouldn't want to come, but I love it. Yes, come.
Keep it short, but I really had fun with my table. We had body snatching and aliens, and we went really, really far. Actually, something I wanted to highlight is, and Thea probably also, where we come from at Carnegie Mellon around technology. It's mostly men. And I loved how many of the sessions were led by women. My table, I mean, there was a good mix of more kinds of people that you usually see in tech conferences. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Okay, what's next? Very, very fast, because we are just 5 slides before the drinks. We have drinks.
For the drinks.
Yeah, drinks.
Yeah,
This is what
that's
you need.
the-
Yeah, we're very close to the
Apparently,
drinks.
to Christoph, that was what the whole conference should have been.
Yeah, I understand now. Yes, we should have just pour
A Berlin
pour-
Club.
Exactly.
Tons of drinks. There you
Pour
go.
the
Go.
drink in. Yes. Okay. So what's next? Very briefly, right? Well, next we're gonna do something in April. You can already note down the date. It's the beginning of April, and as you've heard many a times, we're doing a booklet. So all of this that happened in the last 2 days, as Erika already said, this is not over for us. We're gonna put it in a booklet, and then we're gonna pick something very specific to write a paper. You wanna add something to that?
Yeah, so we're going to do the analysis on all the different conversations that we had. We're going to do a conference paper, most likely just sharing the process of the conference, things that were talked about, some of the insights that were gleaned, do a lot to knowledge share some of the important resources that are available given the different backgrounds that you guys have. So you have a very big and useful practical kit in a way. Because I know lots of conversations happened and there was lots of things going on. So just to make sure that that's sort of consolidated in a sort of useful packet, we're not only going to provide that to you, but we're also going to provide that to the public and see how they engage with it as well. I imagine for this process, and we're going to get to that slide, so maybe I should just be quiet. But yeah, that's the tentative, and then we're going to focus on if there's any specific topic that might be more relevant to doing a more in-focused white paper analysis that will likely take more time.
but we will have something by April.
We'll have the conference paper by April. We'll see
We'll
the
have
white
something
paper.
white paper by April.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is the question back to you. What are the What? What? You're shocked? So, wha-
The word is contribute, but what it really means is work.
so I guess that's a no. So who already volunteers here to contribute?
Oh, wow.
Ah, there you go. There you go.
See, look at that.
Look at that. Okay. So, yeah, I think what we're going to do actually is we're going to put out a survey either tonight or tomorrow. I don't know exactly, can't promise when, but very soon, where basically we're going to also ask you feedback for the event, but also ask for all the attendees who wants to contribute. Yeah. And then essentially we're going to take your email. Well, yeah, we're going to have your emails and then we're going to reach out to you to actually continue with this. I think for the booklet, we will use what has been done here and attribute to everybody. But for the white paper, as a next step, yes.
Yeah. And so we'll probably send out a Google spreadsheet just to get your guys' consent to see if you want to be acknowledged in the conference paper as an attendee. I know for some of you that may not be of interest. So we just want to make sure that we have that sort of listed and you'll be acknowledged on there, and maybe we'll put your LinkedIn, any projects you're working on, and be a part of that acknowledgement for the conference paper.
Yeah, maybe actually also before I say that, I mean, we are, in order to make this happen, and because actually, as Christoph says, it is work, we are looking for partners to put this together so that it doesn't feel like it's, I don't know what's the word to say this. It doesn't, like, it feels like, that there are support mechanisms to make it happen. Yeah. So you can actually spend your time to do it. Let's put it this way. We're working on it. TBD. And last, very, very fast. And I would love I know like it's the end of the day, but think we're very close to drinks. Very close to drinks. For whoever is not sober, we're very close to drinks. So I would love the energy up and people to start clapping because we're going to thank people now. Okay? So, thank you to all the partners, our academic partners, Carnegie Mellon Tepper School of Business, our venue sponsor, CIC, our other sponsor, Urban Sports Club and Responsible Solutions, our community partners, awesome, our facilitators as well. Bravo, bravo. They're not there, but they were before. You've seen them. I'll just do it again, just so you see them. There you go. Please, please, please. They worked a lot for this, and we are very grateful for them giving us our time. And I would like to, you continue clapping, we continue clapping. I would like to thank.
Thank you.
Okay, continue clapping, continue clapping.
So the whole team.
Okay, they're just their faces, but you probably know some of them. They've done amazing work. They've been behind the scenes doing so much. So it's definitely not just Erika and me. There's Grant, there's Tori, there is Mark, there's David, and there's also people who are not even here that they're working to actually make all the social media posts and manage the WhatsApp group. So honestly, there's people behind this. Yeah. And of course, there's the volunteers, and there's one over there wearing a yellow one. So thank you so much. I can see you, that's why I'm pointing at you. But thank you so much. And thank you, of course. Again, we continue clapping. I'm going to clap as well. Thank you to
speakers.
So there's a scientific reason why this is so amazing to hear the clap. And I think that's it, guys. Thank you so much, and see you for the drinks. Thank you.
Thank you.